There's something in your life that you consider unshakable, permanent, eternal. Something you look at and think, this will never change, this will always be here. It could be a person, a place, a situation, a dream, a belief, something that has become part of your identity, something you can't imagine existing without. As you read these words, this something is being prepared to leave your life, not gradually, not with warnings, suddenly, definitively, irreversibly. The universe has already decided, the rupture is already in motion, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. The only choice left is how you'll react when it happens. Will you fight the inevitable and turn the separation into a painful war? Or will you accept that some things must end so that bigger things can begin? Because this rupture isn't a punishment, Taurus. It's a liberation you yourself asked for, even if unconsciously. Do you feel that tightness in your chest when you think about the possibility of losing something important? That visceral resistance that arises just imagining your life without a certain thing or person? This is your Taurus nature speaking, attached, possessive, desperate for security and permanence. But it's also your prison, because while you cling to the familiar, you miss incredible opportunities to grow, to expand, to discover versions of yourself that only exist on the other side of change. The painful truth is this: you've been holding on to things in your life not because they're good for you, but because you're afraid of the emptiness you'd feel without them. You've been clinging to relationships that no longer nourish you, jobs that don't inspire you, places that don't represent you, dreams that no longer fit the person you've become. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, has decided it's time to cut these threads that bind you to the past. Can you sense that there's a part of you that secretly desires this release, even as your mind fights against it? I'm going to tell you something that may scare you, but you need to hear it. This coming rupture isn't random. It was carefully orchestrated by your own soul, which is tired of living a small life because of its fears. Your higher essence sent a direct request to the cosmos. Take away from me everything that is preventing me from being who I truly am. And the universe responded. The painful separation you so fear is, in fact, the answer to your deepest prayers for freedom and authenticity. But your conscious mind, the part that wants to control everything, that seeks security above all else, is terrified. It has created 1,000 strategies to keep things as they are, 1,000 excuses not to let go, 1,000 justifications to cling to the familiar, even when the familiar has become a cage. And so the rupture needs to come from outside, in a way that escapes your control. Because if it depended on your conscious will, you would never have the courage to break free. Remember the last time something important left your life against your will. At the time, it felt like the end of the world. You fought, you cried, you refused to accept it. You spent sleepless nights trying to find a way to reverse the situation. And then what? Months or years later, looking back, you realized that the loss made room for something much better to enter, that the door that closed allowed others to open, that you were only able to become who you are today because you were forced to let go of who you were yesterday. The same thing is happening now, only on a much larger scale. What's about to break in your life carries an emotional toll far more intense than anything you've ever lost before. Because this time, it's not just a relationship, a job, or a situation. It's a whole pattern of being, an entire way of existing that you've built over years. It's the death of a version of you that felt safe being small, controlled, and predictable. For Tauruses born in the first half of May, this breakup is primarily connected to relationship structures you envisioned as forever. You'll discover that true love sometimes requires people to go their separate ways. For those born in the second half of May, the breakup is more closely linked to plans and projects you considered your security for the future. You'll learn that true security comes from the ability to adapt, not from trying to control the uncontrollable. Regardless of when you were born, all Tauruses will experience one thing in common: the feeling that the ground is being pulled out from under you. That existential dizziness that comes when something you used as an anchor is suddenly no longer there. It's uncomfortable, it's scary, it's disorienting, but it's also necessary, because you need to learn that the only true anchor is within you, not in external things that can be lost at any moment. Are you ready to discover this inner strength that has always been there, but that you never needed to access because you always had external crutches to lean on? The pain you'll feel when the rupture happens will be real, intense, and legitimate. Don't try to minimize it or pretend it doesn't hurt. Allow yourself to feel the loss fully. Cry if you need to. Scream if you need to. Feel anger if that's what arises. But in the midst of all this emotional storm, remember that pain isn't evidence that something is wrong. It's evidence that something that no longer served is being removed, and any surgery hurts while it's happening. What impresses me most about Taurus is how you manage to cling to things that died long ago, relationships that exist only out of habit, dreams that have lost all their luster, situations that have become empty routines. You hold on to these things because you're afraid of the unknown, afraid of starting from scratch, afraid of discovering that you might not be as strong as you imagine. But the truth is, you're far more resilient than anything you cling to. The strength you seek in external things has always existed within you. The coming rupture will prove this to you in a way no words could. When you find yourself forced to exist without what you considered essential, you will discover inner resources you never knew you possessed. You will find courage where before there was only fear. You will find creativity where before there was only routine. You will find possibilities where before you saw only limitations. But to reach this discovery, you need to cross the valley of uncertainty. That period between the end of the known and the beginning of the new, where you're not sure of anything, where each day brings doubts and each decision feels like a shot in the dark. It's in this valley that most people give up and try to return to the comfortable prison of what they already know. But you won't have that option. The bridge back will be burned, and the only direction is forward. And do you know what will happen when you have no choice but to move forward? You'll discover that you've always been more adventurous than you imagined, that you've always been more thirsty for novelty than you admitted, that the security you so desperately sought in external things was actually preventing you from accessing the true security that comes from trusting your ability to handle any situation. There's a part of you that already knows this. A part that's secretly excited about the possibility of finally breaking free from self-imposed constraints. A part that's tired of living the same repetitive life and yearns for experiences that make your heart race with excitement instead of anxiety. This part is collaborating with the universe to create the breakthrough your conscious mind so fears, because it knows it's the only way you can finally start living for real. The resistance you feel when you consider change isn't protection. It's self-sabotage, disguised as prudence. It's your small mind trying to convince you that the known bad is better than the unknown good. But your soul knows better. It knows you came into this life to grow, to expand, to become more than you were when you arrived. And growth always requires leaving something behind. Think about the most significant moments in your life so far. How many of them happened when you were in your comfort zone, doing the same old things? Probably none. The moments that truly mattered, that truly transformed you, came when you were forced to step outside the familiar and face the uncertain. The upcoming breakthrough is just another one of those moments, only amplified. In the coming days, you'll begin to notice signs. Conversations that take unexpected turns, situations that develop in ways you didn't anticipate, people acting in ways you don't understand. These aren't coincidences, they're preparations for the big change. The universe is rearranging the pieces on the board of your life, creating the conditions for the rupture to happen in the least traumatic way possible. Pay special attention to your dreams during this period. They will begin to process the separation even before it physically happens. You may dream of goodbyes, moving house, or important people leaving your life. These aren't premonitory nightmares. They are rehearsals, opportunities for your psyche to prepare for what's to come, a gentle way for your subconscious to gradually get used to the idea of letting go. Also, observe your emotional reactions in your daily life. You may find yourself becoming more irritable in situations you previously accepted passively, more impatient with routines that once provided comfort, more questioning of things you previously took for granted. These aren't random mood swings. It's your internal energy preparing for the rupture, creating an emotional distance that will ease the separation when it comes. The hardest part for you will be accepting that some things cannot be fixed, saved, or recovered. Your Taurian nature believes that with enough time and persistence, any problem can be solved, any relationship can be mended, any situation can be improved. But there are times in life where the solution isn't fixing, it's letting go. Where healing comes not from trying to save something that's already dead, but from accepting death and allowing something new to be born in its place. This is a particularly hard lesson for Taurus, because you've been programmed to believe that giving up is weakness, that letting go is failure, that change is instability. But the truth is the opposite. Sometimes holding on is weakness. Sometimes persisting is failure. Sometimes resisting change is instability. Because you spend all your energy trying to hold on to something that the universe has already decided needs to end. The coming rupture isn't about losing something. It's about finding yourself. It's not about ending. It's about beginning. It's not about death. It's about rebirth. But to be born, you first need to leave the womb. And leaving the womb always involves leaving behind an environment that was once perfect for you, but has now become limiting. Your current life is like a cocoon. It was necessary, it was important, it protected you while you developed internally. But the time has come to break the walls of this cocoon and discover that you have become a butterfly. And butterflies cannot fly inside cocoons, no matter how comfortable those cocoons are. When the rupture happens, you'll go through different stages of acceptance. First comes denial. You'll try to pretend it's not final, that there's a way to reverse it. Then comes anger. You'll be furious with the universe, with the people involved, with the injustice of the situation. Next comes bargaining. You'll try to negotiate, make promises, offer changes in exchange for keeping things as they are. All these stages are normal, necessary, and part of the process, but eventually you'll reach acceptance. And when you do, something magical will happen. You'll realize that the thing you so feared losing wasn't as essential as you thought, that you can exist without it, that you can even thrive without it, and most importantly, that your life without it has possibilities that your life with it never would. This revelation will be accompanied by a feeling of freedom you haven't experienced in years, as if a huge weight has been lifted from your shoulders, as if you can finally breathe deeply after years of half-breathing, as if you can finally be yourself after years of playing a character created to keep others comfortable. The energy you spent maintaining something that no longer made sense will finally be available to create something that does. The emotional resources you invested in a stagnant situation can be redirected to experiences that truly nourish you. The time you spent trying to fix what was beyond repair can be used to build something completely new, aligned with who you have become. But perhaps the most transformative discovery is this. You will realize that you have always been stronger than anything you clung to, that your true security has never depended on external factors, that you have within you sufficient resources to deal with any situation, create any reality, overcome any challenge. The rupture will show you this in a way that no theory or advice could. And when you discover this inner strength, your relationship with change will be transformed forever. Instead of fearing the transformations that life brings, you'll begin to see them as opportunities to discover new aspects of yourself. Instead of clinging to the familiar out of fear, you'll begin to willingly let go of things that no longer serve you, even before the universe needs to intervene. This is the true freedom the universe is trying to give you through this seemingly painful rupture. Not freedom from a specific situation, but freedom from the fear of change itself. The freedom to live fluidly, adaptably, confident in your ability to navigate whatever transformation life presents. When homesickness hits hard, remember, you're not missing the thing itself. You're missing the version of you that existed when that thing was part of your life. But that version of you was smaller, more limited, more fearful than the version that's emerging now. Honor the memory of what was, but don't try to resurrect what has already served its purpose. Accept that some stories must end so that others can begin. Accept that some chapters must close so that others can open. Accept that some versions of you must die so that others can be born. And most importantly, accept that you are bigger, more resilient, and more capable than anything that can be lost. The coming rupture is a gift disguised as a loss, an opportunity disguised as a challenge, a blessing disguised as a curse. The universe isn't taking something from you, it's returning you to yourself. It's removing the distractions that prevented you from seeing your own magnificence. It's clearing the path so you can finally walk toward your truest dreams. Accept what's coming, Taurus, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because the pain is temporary and the transformation is permanent. Accept it, because on the other side of this rupture lies a version of you you never imagined possible. A free, authentic, powerful, irresistible version. A version that has always been there, waiting for you to have the courage to let go of everything that wasn't truly yours, and finally embrace everything that always was. Your soul recognizes the truth in these words, even if your mind still resists. Share in the comments if you're already feeling the first signs of this approaching rupture. If there's something in your life that you know, deep down, needs to end, your experiences will help other Tauruses prepare for their own transformations. Subscribe to the channel, because this process of rupture and rebirth will require guidance. You'll need guidance on how to navigate the most difficult moments, how to interpret the signs that will appear, and how to embrace the new reality that will emerge. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any guidance that can support you in this transformation. The universe has already decided. The disruption is already underway. The only question remaining is, will you gracefully accept what's coming, or will you waste energy fighting the inevitable? Your Taurus heart already knows the answer. It's time to trust it and allow this transformation to take you to where you were always meant to be, fully aligned with your deepest truth, free of all that no longer serves your highest good.